This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 546 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by Equestrian Collections. Hi, Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from Shawna Karrasch. Shawna Karrasch may be known by many of us as the clicker training lady, but she really is the take it out of the textbook and put it in the barn lady. Shawna uses scientifically proven training and teaching methods, removes the science-weenie language, and gives horse folks like us amazing tools with which to improve our horse's behavior and performance. Her reward reinforcement training system dramatically accelerates the training process for any breed or discipline by unlocking the horse's natural desire to perform. What results is an incredible bond between human and horse, a partnership based on success. And as if that weren't enough, she's one of the nicest people on the planet to boot. Today's tip is about putting yourself in your horse's shoes. And here with us today, Shawna Karrasch, operant conditioning, positive reinforcement, clicker training trainer extraordinaire is here with us. And looks like we're going to talk a little bit about when your horse says life sucks. Put yourself in your horse's shoes. What do you mean by that, Shawna?
I do this all the time, and I try to think when I'm looking at something, or the horse is being ornery about something, or something is going wrong, or something. I really try to put myself in the horse's shoes. So I kind of think, okay, what could be? Why am I doing this? Okay, now, or sometimes we might not figure that out, but knowing that we are doing it, how would I want to be dealt with in this situation? What would help me to make a better decision? How could we change this? And so I find that a lot of times if I turn it around and I kind of put myself in that compassionate place of understanding where they're coming from, or would I like to be treated like that? Would I understand this? Does this make sense to me? It really, really helps me to think things through. Now, a lot of times it's common sense things, like if you think, well, why would my horse possibly want to lower his head for clipping when, I'm using, clippers are pinching his ear hairs and, and are hot and buzzing and the little hairs are falling in his ears. So he's thinking, I hate this. I don't want to do this. Why would I not want to do this? But if you put something in it for your horse, you can really change his mind about it. So if you kind of think about those things, it's a lot of common sense. So if you really put things in, if you put yourself in their shoes, a lot of times that common sense comes through. So we can kind of, because it's all behavior principles. We all learn through these proven principles. It's operant conditioning. It's latent learning. It's things that are all the way we all learn. We just have different factors in our lives than theirs. So it's sometimes, if you just kind of break it down, like what would work for me, the common sense reigns through. I think sometimes we try to remember what we read in a book, what we heard here, what we did there, and it's not always so intuitive as when we kind of really break it down to behavior principles and go, okay, how can I change this? How can I get this better? So I always find that putting myself in the horse's shoes helps me to see things from a new place and sometimes come up with new ideas.
So you have to put yourself in his shoes, which means you have to try and think a little bit like a horse, because as a human, we might say, don't like getting our ears clipped, and if somebody wraps a cable around my head and yanks real hard, I'm going to put my head down because that cable really hurt. But a horse isn't necessarily thinking that way. He might very well, and would probably, look at that and go, okay, I hate getting my ears clipped even more, because now not only do the clippers yank my hairs and fall in my ears and burn my skin, but now it makes my head hurt too.
Exactly, and now the humans all around me are all getting mean.
Right.
It's like we're like just mean people. They don't understand that it is you know, we're trying to correct them when they're just nervous and thinking, I want to get away from this, I don't understand. Oh, and now my humans do it, or under saddle, you know, and all of a sudden, they are trying to do something, and we get all tense, and then they get all tense, and they think, see, look, they're panicked. They hate that bucket over there too.
Well, I think you just hit on a really important word there. Is the horse doesn't understand that we're clipping his ears. He doesn't know what clippers are. He probably might not even be aware that he has hair in his ears.
Yeah.
You know how little babies discover they have toes?
Yeah.
That what do they call that? Self-awareness? Nobody's proven that horses have self-awareness yet. They're working on it, but they haven't proven it yet.
Right.
So maybe we need to look at it as, okay, the horse doesn't understand he's getting his ears clipped. All he knows is it's uncomfortable, it's scary, it smells bad, and the humans are acting weird.
Right.
So we need to break this down that, okay, we're going to use Trigger again today. Trigger doesn't appreciate getting his ears clipped. So we're going to teach Trigger that when he hears the sound of clippers and he stands still and doesn't move an inch when he hears clippers, that's the behavior we want, and that's going to be the behavior we reward. Turn on the clippers, and he just stands there and stares at us. Reward time, step one, right?
Exactly, and it's kind of, and I think is we kind of can't think just like a horse, but we can understand that we do learn through the same principles. So reinforcement is really, if we're trying to get something we want or avoid something we don't want, and we'll process things better if we learn slower, or have time to process it. All these things are basic principles that, if you kind of keep those in mind, and then you look at your horse and you think, you know what, he like you said, he doesn't understand what this is about, so let's not just force him into this square peg into a round hole. Let's work through it and help him to understand that it's a safe place to be, go a little slower, or we get our own agendas, where we think, I got to do this and I got to get it done now, because we're going to the show tomorrow.
Yeah, he doesn't get that, and he never will get that, but he will get, if I stand stock still when I hear that crazy sound, my humans reward me for that. He can get that in a flash.
Yes.
And he'll stick with that. He'll remember that, and then you get to the point that if I stand still when those clippers touch my shoulders, I get an even bigger reward. My people are even nicer to me. He's going to get that.
Exactly.
He's never going to get, oh, my God, the horse show's tomorrow and I need my ears clipped.
Exactly. That has to be done today. So that means that sometimes we have to change our agenda and think, you know what, we need to start this, a week ahead of time, and maybe just do, 2 minutes a day and let him get acclimated to it so he kind of starts to feel safe. So if we kind of take ourselves out of our own schedule and our own agenda and kind of think, you know what, this may not make the most sense here for him, or like a baby horse. We're putting a saddle on him for the first time. We think riding a horse is completely normal. Horses weren't born to be ridden. That's something we did. It's not, doing a bow versus having a rider doesn't make any more sense to them. Well, we think, riding's normal, but a bow's weird. That's a trick. But to them, so when you get a young horse and you're plopping the saddle on him and you're climbing up on him, if you kind of think, wow, this would be really weird if this was happening to me. If somebody started climbing on me and putting a I don't know that, and I couldn't communicate with them. I didn't understand their language. You'd be like, what? This is scary. So if we can kind of break it down sometimes and go, you know what, I can get that this is a little weird. Let's just go a little slower. Let's work within your comfort zone. You just get so much further. So, I do it all the time that I stop and I think how it might seem for them, and it helps me to slow down and be more patient, frankly, and to realize that it's okay if we take a little more time, or it's okay that you don't like this. We'll learn about it, and I'll try to be more understanding and meet you where you are, and not just think you should be where I am, but you're an individual, and you may be not learning like every other horse, but I'm going to meet you where you are, and we're going to work together through this journey, as opposed to, me just thinking you ought to, why don't you? And, but that's how I feel about people too. I don't want to be a part of any person or any animal's life that I don't feel I can add something to their life, or they don't add something to my life.
You're bringing donuts?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So,
Squirrel moment there.
I don't just want to impose impose myself on the horses. I want it to be kind of something where I help them to have more fulfilled lives, to have better lives by virtue of their, a lot of times it could be job, it could be a professional horse, but you still, I want to balance that out and help them to come about it in a way that it feels fulfilling. I mean, because it can be the most stringent, I've worked with Olympic caliber horses, but so they can do that kind of job and still have a relationship with their people that is fulfilling and good,
Mm-hmm. And keeps the synapses sparking. Yeah.
Yes, it does. And it just, I think they just understand that you're trying to understand it. Maybe that's a little ethereal, but,
Well, and I think you can, by putting yourself in your horse's shoes or your spouse's shoes or your dog's shoes or whatever, you can definitely create that, what a lot of people call trust. That's a big word that's in the horse business right now. The horse can look at either humans as a whole or specific humans as, well, I can trust that human to, I'm going to try and figure out what that human wants from me because I know nothing bad will come of it.
Right.
At worst, nothing comes of it.
But yeah, exactly.
Because there's no punishment. It's only okay, that's not the behavior we want, so let's just keep ignoring it and keep trying to figure out what the behavior we do want. He has an option of reward or nothing. He doesn't have the option of reward or punishment. He has the option of reward or nothing.
Right.
And once he gets to that point with that human, then those little synapses are going to do a lot of sparking.
Yes, and it still means, that we still have boundaries. They still need to learn and progress, but they start to realize that it's all with good intent. It's kind of like they start to understand that it's going to be okay and it's going to work out okay, even though I may not understand it right yet. I found that it all ends up in a good place. So instead of going, oh no, I hate this, and just being super suspicious and reacting, they start to go, you know what, I don't really know what this is, but I think it'll be okay. All the other new stuff has turned out okay. So it really helps, I think, to kind of put yourself in their shoes and think through that, and it helps us to be more, I really, and it is a little anthropomorphic, but it's not really, because I'm not saying that they're humans and they're not dogs. I understand they're large animals that do need the boundaries, but we do learn the same, and we do process things the same. So it really can help if you can stop and recognize that with them.
Oh yeah, and it's very physically. They give you clues, and you can see the horse physically change when they have that little light bulb moment that they go, that human wants me to do something, and if I figure out what it is, boy, it's jackpot time.
And that's a huge thing, and I hear this all the time for people. I just did a despooking series, and so I had a lot of input from people, and you'd hear them all the time, just for the very first part, say, the look in his eyes changed. He's happier than I've ever seen him. Over and over and over again. So using the positive reinforcement there really ramps things up. But even if you're just doing it differently, but the positive reinforcement really changes things, and it really, really builds trust and confidence in your horse. But even if you just stop it and give them credit for what they might be processing, I think it helps us to get a better rapport right off the bat.
There you go. Fantastic. As usual. So where can folks go on the net to read more wisdom from Shawna and ask you questions and learn where you're going to be at clinics and things like that?
Go to AskShawna.com, and that takes you to my website. You can kind of navigate through there and find out more and ask questions or read things that have already been posted. I've answered a lot of questions, and there's a lot of blog stuff. I mean, it's pages. There's a search bar.
There's pages and pages of stuff there, yes. And you've got some really great videos up there now, too.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I love this, being able to deal with so many people through the Internet. I mean, it's really been great.
Yep. Go there, AskShawna.com. And thank you very much for stopping by, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer.
It's always so much fun to chit-chat with Shawna. She's always got such a great positive outlook. I guess that fits with the whole positive reinforcements trainings, doesn't it? To listen to all of Shawna's tips, just go to horsetipdaily.com and go to the Experts drop-down menu on the left. All of our experts are right there, alphabetized and easy to find. You can also go to askshawna.com. That's her website. And she's got a blog there, lots of great videos, tips, and interesting factoids. And you can also get her books and videos to purchase at her website. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like to hear us cover. You can subscribe to all of the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.